Hi, it's Rob Watson here. I run Decentered Media, which is a website project where I look at how community media principles can help people manage social change in a positive way. And one of the things I've come up with recently and kind of been helping a few organisations out and a few groups out that I'm associated with is how to enhance their online engagements and collaboration. And I was wondering if this was something that other people might be interested in, and what are the things that we need to think about as we have shifted from meeting and working in offices and workplaces and studios and things like that, and we've become like this now, remote workers. We work in our studies and our homes, our spare bedrooms, and it's kind of been brought, kind of to my mind in the last few months that this is a change which is kind of, it's almost we've lived through a revolution really, and while it might not be a kind of a break with the past, it's an acceleration of the things that we needed to be thinking about for the future. So we've had to change and adapt and work in a way which is about bringing things forward, which we would have been doing in a few years, but we've kind of had to rush into it a bit more. And that's meant that we've kind of had to deal with two things. Firstly, we've had to, and quite rightly, socially distance in order to manage the COVID-19 outbreaks. But that then has had a knock-on effect in terms of how do we keep going? What's our business resilience? How is it that we keep trading? How is it that we keep developing services, supplying services to our clients and our customers, producing products, that kind of thing? So the teleconferencing, the video, online shared video interaction using things like Zooms and Microsoft Teams and Google Hangouts, those kind of things. They're really have become center stage. So it's kind of a shift that can be, on the one hand, for some people it's great, we embrace it, but for others actually it can be a bit more scary, and it can be both empowering and it can be disempowering. So it's around those kind of ideas that I think I can help with organisations, with business groups, with companies, with work teams, to think about how you actually manage and facilitate your ongoing services through the use of and with the technology that we're using to produce online meetings and shared and collaborative spaces. We're kind of, we didn't think this was feasible. If you'd have gone back, to the beginning of 2020, you might have been saying, that still sounds like the future. But, we've had to deal with this and lots of people have got used to it. I suppose the danger is that there's a bit of burnout, a potential for burnout. And what we used to do in the workplace in person simply can't be replicated online. We have to think differently. We have to put things in place which help us to manage and facilitate and engage with each other in different ways. So what I'm interested in is the idea that, we're looking for meaningful spaces of participation using online resources, not just using them, if you like, as a kind of administrative tool or a checkbox tool or a process management tool to make sure that we're, a project manager's dream, I suppose, is to make sure that everybody's on track with their activities, and quite rightly as well. However, in order for people to feel motivated to do that, they have to be able to work together as a team. They have to understand a culture, a work-based culture. They have to have common goals. You have to be motivated in a particular way in order to engage in a particular activity. And in the past, we've had lots of endless meetings, point-to-point communication through email, that kind of thing. And we're going to have to do something different now because we've discovered a life beyond the office. Working from home it allows people a different way of living. The commute, the endless workday commute, daily commute is no longer the priority. Getting dressed formally for the office is no longer the priority for many people. It will return for lots of people, but for some people, there'll still be a requirement and a desire, I think, to be productive. And we should think about how we enhance that and how we take advantage of it. So it's the shift to online collaboration can't just take what we had before and put it online. We have to think about new sets of rules, new sets of practices, new sets of values that make it an inclusive space, a space where people can work together, a way that we can harness the creativity and the contribution that everybody can make to a project or to the life of an organisation, and we have to recognise that it's harder. We're looking at a screen to do that. We're not interacting with people, so we've got to think about it in a really different way, and that's where I think I can maybe help to look at how we do that and use the facilities that are built into Zoom and Teams to really change the way that we manage ourselves. There's a danger that some organisations are going to overreact and that they're going to become risk averse, and that anything that's opened up to beyond a core group of people is going to challenge the security of the organisation, and that's a valid concern. But the danger is that kind of tramples on people's spontaneity, and it stops people collaborating. There was always that, they describe it as the water cooler moment, where you bump into a colleague, you have a cup of tea with them, and you talk about ideas that you kind of didn't think were relevant, but it sparks something off. Well, how do we do that online when people are only attending meetings that they are scheduled to attend? What's the other approaches that we can take that can maybe allow for that kind of serendipity, if you like, and that fertilization allows people to be butterflies and not just, I'm trying to think of an analogy, kind of pupae stuck in a cocoon in their space in the office, but somebody who kind of cross fertilizes ideas. So I get my metaphors really mixed up. So what can we do about it? I think first of all we have to recognise that online collaboration really has to focus on people's well-being. That's the number one priority. We're working in isolation. We are social animals, and social isolation is a punishment in many ways. So we have to recognise that people look for points of contribution, and it has to be meaningful for them. So as I say, rather than just an administrative or managerialist kind of process. Secondly, I think we have to look at the ways that people are empowered in an inclusive way. And that might be a way that might really make us look at and reflect upon the way we conduct ourselves at all levels, how we encourage, how we engage, how do we nurture, how do we develop. And I think the crux of this is the ability to listen and the ability to tell stories to one another that help us promote change and help us motivate to meet our goals and our objectives. And I kind of hope that what we want to do as we build back better is to create workplace cultures, and we spend more time at work than we do with our families often, as a kind of more caring and nurturing environment. So what do I offer? What can I help with? Well, I think I can help and assist work groups, organisations, businesses to kind of really review and look again at how you're using your online collaborative tools and how you I engage with people and what kind of values people in your community identify with, to be able to establish, a clear sense of motivation as to what's important and what you're trying to realise as an organisation and what your values are about that. So I think I can help tutor and guide and give advice about rethinking through what collaboration means. And sometimes it's about when we should push ourselves forward, and sometimes it's about when we should hold back and listen. And online, that's very different from how we do it in groups, in our physical engagements. So ultimately, I suppose training and guiding people is what I've most experienced at. 20 years teaching media production, collaborative media engagement. I produce podcasts. I run online forums, that kind of stuff. And I think using platforms and media platforms to enhance our connectivity is one of the things we need to be thinking about. What difference would it make? Well, I kind of think it would help us to be more inclusive, to take advantage of these kind of decentralized forms of ways of working, distributed rather than centralized, and that to be contribution focused, so that you suddenly realize that there's a whole load of people in your organization who are making a contribution but don't necessarily have a voice or get valued, and you're seeing people on your Teams chats and in your chat groups and your systems that kind of were invisible before, but now they have some visibility and they need to be recognized for the contribution that they make. So this is kind of about taking advantages of what the systems enable us to do and enable us to rethink. If you want to get in contact with me and kind of chat about any of these ideas, just give us a shout on Twitter, which is Decentered Media. I'm on Instagram as well, which is Decentered Media. The website is decentered.co.uk. And if you want to email me, it's robwatson@decentered.co.uk, which kind of, this is an area that I think we should be concerned about. I'm interested in thinking about new ways of collaborating online, and taking what I've learned from that in the past and looking at these new opportunities and saying, kind of, what do we need to do different and how can we do it better, and how can we earn our income and make a living, but at the same time have a life that we find meaningful and enriching at the same time as well. So hope to hear from you. Hope this hasn't been too open and too unformed, but we'll give it a go. Speak to you soon.